Prayers.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Item number 2 in the order paper, communication from the chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, I welcome you to today's sitting. As Christians who have begun the Lent period, today we were blessed to have His Grace, the Most Reverend Archbishop Samuel Kazimba, leading us in prayers, organized by the Anglican Chaplaincy. I believe that's why most of us have been late, because we were still with His grace. And in the evening, we shall be having the Catholic chaplaincy, also having prayers in the conference room, and they will be led by Bishop Christopher Kakoza, the Bishop of Rugazi. So we shall be adjourning at 5 p.m. so that we can go to welcome the bishop. It's very important for these leaders when they come here. At least we accord them that kind of respect, because once in a while we get such an opportunity. I wish to remind the executive of the deadline for submission of municipal policy statement, which is 15th March 2025. This is a statutory deadline clearly stipulated in the PFMA, but also in our rules of procedure. So we shall not be accepting any policy statements that shall be submitted after the deadline. And I confirmed with the Minister of Finance, he has communicated to all accounting officers. So I don't expect any accounting officer to be disturbing the minister to run to the office of the speaker to be helped. I hope we can keep that deadline. And I think some of them should be here by now. And that's why I want to bring a strong reminder. Maybe I will request Minister of Finance, through you, you can request the PSST to again write all accounting officers, reminding them. You know, I mean, we take these things for granted that they know the data. But I know when some of them miss, and I don't want to have issues, which issues we usually have. Okay? I don't want us to be having issues. I know when it comes to policy statement. And we shall also appreciate if you send us soft copies. If we can also receive soft copies so that they are uploaded. Because sometimes we've had cases, chairpersons of committees have told me, the statements are given here and then after withdrawn. Okay? After withdrawn, that they have issues and all that. So we shall be glad to have soft copies so that as you upload, as you lay on table, we also upload for members to be looking at them. I'll start allocating space on the order paper tomorrow to receive municipal policy statements. And we shall be ending that next week. Colleagues, today I'm not doing matters of national importance. We are doing all of them next week. Tomorrow, Thursday, during Prime Minister's time, so that we can save some time to handle critical issues on the order paper. Now the things I've communicated are straightforward. Next item. Next item.
Item 3 on the order paper.
Colleagues, I know rights of the rope more than, okay? So the presiding officer is guiding that we go to the next item. Next item.
Statement by Minister on the ongoing heat waves and climate mitigation measures.
Yeah, Honourable Ministers, you bring your statement. Let me just receive a comment from Acting ROP.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for accepting to raise a matter within your communication. And I'm the Shadow Minister for Education, so this week I'm LOP. Mr. Speaker, we have had Minister of Education here, and we have raised a number of issues on the new curriculum. And we had a debate last week, but we got assurances from the Minister. This Monday, Senior 5 students began school with a new curriculum, which is not trained to teachers. And the call I've just received on our members from 2 head teachers in my constituency, Mr. Speaker, they have been given a new curriculum, which is voluminous, a big volume. And they're asking me to photocopy for them this big volume for all teachers. What you want to know, Mr. Speaker, what are Senior 5 students learning now? Under which curriculum are they being taught? Because there is no single teacher who is trained on the new curriculum. But what they are saying, Mr. Speaker, is that they are using the old curriculum being taught, which was taught in Senior 4.
Yeah, but Honourable Seungu, that's not part of my communication. It's not a procedure matter. I just want to remain relevant.
Mr. Speaker, I said procedure and you allowed me.
No, but it's not a procedure matter. Procedure is for what is going on in the House, not issues we are not handling today.
Mr. Speaker, your discretionary powers are very good, and with this problem, if you allowed me to find out from Minister of Education, it is beneficial to all of us. Because really, we can't have schools beginning Senior 5 without what students are learning, yet they spent 4 years in the new curriculum. This is the work of National Curriculum Development Center. It's the work of Minister of Education. They must come and update us.
Thank you. Can I give guidance? When the communication we have here on the order paper is communication from the presiding officer. No any other person has a right of communication. Now, ROP, you can only stand up either speaking to my communication or a point of procedure. Point of procedure is for issues going on in the House as we are sitting. Okay? So, this is also now your communication. I know the matter might be critical, but it should fit within what is provided for in the rules. Okay? So, I will request that this matter, since they've taken note of it, it be handled tomorrow. During Prime Minister's time, during Prime Minister's time, we can have a quick answer to this. Colleagues in the public gallery this afternoon, we have students and teachers of 7 Hills International School, Kampala. They are represented in Parliament by Honorable Muhammad Nsereko and Honorable Shamim Marende. They are here to observe proceedings of this House. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Honorable Minister, please, the floor is yours.
Right Honorable Speaker, I am privileged to be given the opportunity to respond to the issues which were raised. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a brief that has been prepared to update you and the House on the current high temperatures being experienced across the country. The brief also addresses the concerns raised by Honorable Pio Simon, Colin North County, regarding the ongoing heat wave. Those are the high temperatures and the mitigation measures. The Ministry of Water and Environment is committed to providing regular weather updates to this House, honorable colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, the effect of climate change and increasing climate variability has made weather and the climate conditions more challenging Weather-related disasters are becoming more frequent with severe impacts on the agriculture, livelihood, infrastructure, and aviation, amongst others.
Honourable Minister, is your statement uploaded? Colleagues, do you have, because it's a requirement?
Right Honourable Speaker, I submitted it.
When?
The clerk's office.
I don't have a copy of this statement, okay, and it's not uploaded. So, Honourable Minister, I request maybe we can stand over it, we do the necessary, and then you come after.
Most obliged.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Next item.
Item number
Please,
4.
Can we borrow your copy so that they can use it for uploading and then return it to you? Because I don't, you see, if it's not copied to my office or the speaker, we can't have copies, and I don't have any. Yes, next item.
Item number 4 in the order paper, laying of papers. 1, debt sustainability analysis report financial year 2023-2024.
Honourable Minister for Finance.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay on table the debt sustainability analysis report for financial year 2023-2024. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The statement, the report is referred to the Committee on Budget for processing and reporting back. Sorry? Thank you. With guidance from the Minister and consultation with the clerk, it's referred to the Committee on National Economy. Thank you.
Item 4.2, report to the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the oversight visit of the Embassy of Uganda in Bujumbura, Burundi.
Honourable Chair. Honourable colleague.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I beg.
No, Honourable, who are you?
I am Okumu Gabriel. I am standing in for the Chair of Foreign Affairs. It is under Rule 204 of our Rules of Procedure. I rise under that rule.
No, but Honourable colleague, the Chair should inform the Speaker. Okay? So because of that, I will not allow for today.
Right Honourable Speaker, the information, the letter was written and handed over to your office.
Now, Honourable colleagues, I want to guide you, and you make our work difficult. Every document in Parliament, the moment you're the Speaker, unless it's personal, and I have seen chairperson, it becomes very easy for us to, because I don't have a copy in my office and my executive secretary is here. No, I don't have a copy. I've checked in all my documents, so I know putting that you have copied is not enough. Yes, I know. So since it was received, I will allow, but next time ensure indeed copies are sent, okay? Yeah. It makes our work very, very easy so that we don't keep running around, you know. Honourable Kumu.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for your indulgence. I would like to lay the report of the Committee of Foreign Affairs on the oversight visit to the Embassy of Uganda in Bujumbura, Burundi. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable. Yeah, Rule 34.2 for field visit reports requires that once you lay the report, you give us a summary. Honorable, do you have a summary? It should be just a summary of findings. 1 page is enough. I see you have a big document.
I will make it in about 3 minutes.
Okay, very
I'm at
good.
the highlights.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable. Of the committee comprising 11 members, accompanied by 4 staff, conducted an oversight visit to the Embassy of Uganda in Bujumbura from the 13th to 19th February 2024. It comprised of the chairperson then, Honorable Bigirwa Noah Nyendoa, chairperson, Honorable Polot Fred, Honorable Mutebi Noah, and others. In this report, what was really fascinating is the issue of education. You find that they have adopted, among all other things, they are using our curriculum, and children have to travel from Bujumbura to come and sit for the exams here. Now, when the children come here, usually you find that they come a day or two to the exams, and it has really been affecting them. So the committee observed as follows, that the committee learned that learners in Bujumbura studying in the Ugandan curriculum are required to travel to Uganda to sit for your NEB examinations. This arrangement is not only costly, but also an inconvenience to them, causing psychological strain on the children. They often travel 1 or 2 days before the exams. They arrive when they are fatigued, and it requires for them to actually settle down before they sit for the final examinations. The committee, I'm reading only one recommendation of education, which I felt was very, very important. The committee recommended as follows. The Minister of Education and Sports, in collaboration with the Uganda's Minister of Foreign Affairs, should engage the government of Burundi through the diplomatic channels to negotiate and formalize the establishment of a NEB examination center in Burundi. This will reduce the financial burden and psychological strain on the learners traveling to Uganda for exams, and encourage more schools in Burundi to adopt and promote the Ugandan curriculum. We also recommended that the Minister of Education and Sports, through the Embassy of Uganda in Burundi, should work closely with the schools teaching the Ugandan curriculum to ensure they meet the necessary requirements of establishing a UNEB center, including recruiting qualified staff and adhering to the Uganda education standards. We also recommended that the Minister of Education and Sports should deploy an education attaché to Burundi to capitalize on the significant export potential of the Ugandan education, strengthen education partnership, and provide guidance to schools using the Ugandan curriculum. The Embassy of Uganda in Burundi should be allocated adequate funding to organize an education expo aimed at promoting Uganda's education system and attaching more Burundian learners to the Ugandan institutes.
Can you conclude, Honorable?
In conclusion, I would like to request Parliament to take in interest in this report for Bujumbura, and they should adopt it. I beg to submit.
Thank you. You see, honorable colleagues, no, the rules are unfortunate. It's laying of papers. Rule 34.3. we shall be appointing a date for considering this critical report. I can see members were already excited to debate. So, but the rules unfortunately limit us when it comes to such reports. Honorable colleagues, as I had mentioned to you earlier on at the beginning of our session, today we are privileged to be hosting the Most Reverend Dr. Samuel Kazimba Mugaru, Archbishop of Church of Uganda, and he's in the VIP gallery. Your Grace, you're always welcome, and thank you for blessing us. Next time when you're blessing us, remember man you, because the speaker, the speaker is always having headaches, so I'll be glad. He is accompanied by Reverend Canon Dr. Rebecca Nyegenye, Provost of Saints Cathedral. Also, Dr. Tendo Mukadayiga, Priest of Saints Cathedral. Then there's also Reverend Jillian Amongin Okero, our very own chaplain for the Anglican chaplaincy. And Reverend Akansime Johnson, chaplain to the Archbishop. Colleagues, they've come to observe proceedings of this House. Once again, join me in welcoming them. And in a special way, we welcome the head of laity, the Honorable Obua Hamson. Okay. Honorable colleagues, I see there is an area, there's an item which I know the Archbishop would be interested in. So I request we first handle that item because it's a very, very critical item to do with financing Cancer Institute. So let's handle item number 6. Maybe you can follow the debate and see, because he requested us to have empathy of when we are legislating here. Honorable Minister for Environment, we shall come later after this item number 6.
Item number 6 on the order paper, motion for a resolution of Parliament authorize government to borrow up to units of account 13,500,000 equivalent US dollars 18.09 million, additional financing from the African Development Fund to finance East Africa's Centers for Excellency for Skills and Tertiary Education in Biomedical Sciences, Project Phase 1, Uganda Cancer Institute.
Yes, Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Kum Gabriel, thank you very much. You did a great job. You made an report. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, pursuant to Article 159 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 34 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 as amended, and Rule 155 of our Parliamentary Rules of Procedure, I beg to move a motion for Parliament to approve the proposal by government to borrow up to unit of account 100 and unit of account 13,000 no up to borrow up to US dollars 18.09 million as additional financing from the African Development Fund to finance East Africa's Center of Excellence for Skills and Tertiary Education in Biomedical Sciences, Phase 1, Uganda Cancer Institute project in Uganda. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded? Honorable Cooper, Honorable Singoma, Honorable Ongeso, Honorable Sazi, Honorable Kajwenje, Honorable Mazari, Alinyo, Achon, Honorable Martin Mugara, Minister of State Local Government, Minister of State Elderly, Paparu Lilian, Docas, Songa, Itungo, honorable colleagues, most of you. I can see it, sir. UPDF I had already captured here. Yeah. Yes. Honorable Minister, just want to give a brief.
Mr. Speaker, the justification for the loan is as follows. Owing to the COVID-19 pandemic and the cash flow issues faced by the main contractor, the civil works activities for the project were delayed for over 18 months, stretching the civil works contract from 24 months to 42 months. These delays led to a substantial increase in prices of materials and labor and slow execution of other dependent project contracts, such as the procurement of laboratory furniture and equipment, procurement of equipment for ICT and telemedicine, procurement of magnetic resonance imaging, MRI machine, which are all sensitive to price escalations on the world markets. The bank in 2022 undertook preliminary assessment for the project's suitability and for additional financing against the criteria set out in Section 5 of the Additional Financing Policy and Section 3 of the Additional Financing Guidelines. These assessments determined that 1, providing additional financing would be a better option than starting a new project to complete the outstanding works. 2, that the overall project was consistent with the original project's development objectives. 3, that the project was technically feasible and economically and financially viable. The bank further determined that the causes of the financing gap were outside the control of both the borrower or recipient and the project implementing entity, and that the ability of the project to meet its development objectives without additional financing was minimal. Mr. Speaker, I now want to come to the terms of the loan.
Honourable Minister, we can leave that to the committee since it assessed.
Mr. Speaker, I think this is with your indulgence.
Okay.
The
Please.
terms is the reason why I'm here.
Then, Chair, you don't repeat that.
Mr. Speaker, what are the terms of the loan? The terms are as follows. Loan amount is unit of account 13.5 million, an equivalent of 18.09 million US dollars. Commitment fees 0.75% per annum on the undisbursed loan amount. This will accrue 120 days after the date of loan agreement. Service charge 1% per annum of the disbursed loan balance. The tenure is 50 years, including the grace period, which is 10 years. Colleagues, the African Development Fund is the concessional financing window of the African Development Bank that finances low-income regional member countries. The terms are concessional with the loan period of 50 years, including grace period. Mr. Speaker, I now conclude with the benefits. Currently, Uganda gets 60,000 new cancer cases per year, while most are attended to locally. A significant number also seek treatment in India, USA, and other countries with superior facilities. The project will therefore reduce the cost of treatment abroad of approximately between US dollars 100,000 to 100 to 300 million spent by the government of Uganda on care abroad. The introduction of BTM treatment unit would be a major leap in treating blood cancer. Mr. Speaker, with this justification, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. No, we have to receive committee report. Honourable Minister, then we shall get that during the debate, okay? Yeah. Chair?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, before I proceed, allow me to lay on table the minutes of the Committee on National Economy for meetings held in consideration of this loan request. I beg to lay. Please also allow me to lay on table the report of the Committee on National Economy and the proposal to borrow up to $18.09 million additional financing from the African Development Bank Fund to finance East Africa's Centers of Excellence for Skills and Tertiary Education Biomedical Sciences Project, Phase 1, Uganda Cancer Institute. I beg to lay. Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister has highlighted a number of issues within this loan, but for emphasis, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, the Committee on National Economy considered the request by government to borrow up to units of accounts 13,500,000, that's $18.09 as additional financing for the Uganda Cancer Institute from the African Development Bank Fund of the African Development Bank Group for financing East Africa's Centers of Excellence for Skills and Tertiary Education in Biomedical Sciences Phase 1 project in accordance with Rule 178 2B of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure. Right Honourable Speaker, we beg to present this report. We met a number of stakeholders as the uploaded report highlights. We conducted field visits. Among them, we visited Lubowa Specialized Hospital and the East African Centers of Excellence for Skills and Tertiary Education in Mulago. And Right Honourable Speaker, since the Minister highlighted some of them, let me go to the components. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, component 1 is creation of the COE in oncology, that's Centers of Excellence in Oncology Sciences in Uganda East African Oncology Institute, that will aim at addressing labor market shortages for skilled professionals in oncology. Under this component, the additional financing will support A, cost overruns towards the finalization of construction of the infrastructure at the UCI multipurpose building. B, enhance treatment and training of high-level manpower under Centers of Excellence in East Africa region with a specific focus on oncology. C, provision of mechanical and electrical systems. And D, training of biomedical staff. Specifically, the additional finance will be used to provide additional hospital space for specialized cancer services, provide additional specialized equipment for bone marrow transplant, provide mechanical and electrical systems, finalize the ICT systems and MRI procurement and installation, and undertake greening of the project through water harvesting, solar-powered water heating, and solar lighting backup. Component 2, support East African regional integration agenda in higher education and labor mobility. The East African Secretariat Department is supported to implement its common market protocols, including, among others, free labor mobility. The additional finance will enhance the same activities envisaged in the Councils of Excellence Phase 1, specifically fund an East African Member States Forum to harness collective resource and comparative advantages in biomedical skills and knowledge development. It will enable the Centers of Excellence to hold at least 2 thematic forums for knowledge sharing based on the biomedical focus areas of each of the Centers of Excellence. The outputs from this forum will constitute joint publications which will demonstrate the attainment of the Centers of Excellence, facets of labor market needs for the health sector and the development of the East African Community Non-Communicable Disease Registry. The last component, which is component 3, is project implementation, will involve providing resources to ensure effective project management at the country level. Under this component, additional financial resources will be used for effective project management at UCI and other public partner institutions for training and research, including Makerere University of Health Sciences, Mbarara University of Science and Technology, and Gulu University. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister has already highlighted the loan is concessional. The conditions allow me proceed to observations and recommendations. Right Honorable Speaker, 1, increase the number of additional financing requests. The committee notes that of late, government has tabled before Parliament a number of proposals requiring additional financing to already ongoing projects. A case in point is the Laropi Moyo Afoji Katuna Muko Kamuganguzi Road project, the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Project loan, Masaka Mutukura Road project in addition to this one. This has been attributed to delays in the implementation of the projects, lack of adequate planning and preparedness for these projects, and variations in the scope of work, among others. These lead to cost overruns, resulting in requests for additional funds, ultimately increasing the financial burden on the government. The committee therefore recommends that the government should minimize variations to projects except in unavoidable circumstances, such as changes in scope or design, which may necessitate requests for additional funding. A case in point, Right Honorable Speaker, in terms of infrastructure, the scope changed by 80% for this project. 2, yes, 80%. The plan was not to build a new structure, so they ended up building a new one. 2, performance of the projects under the health sector. The committee noted that most of the ongoing projects in the health sector have faced slow progress, and this is attributed to low disbursement rates, delays in procurement process, incomplete or errors in designs, compensations, issues that make sites inaccessible, bureaucracy, delayed payment due to lack of funding, mostly brought by conditions precedent to disbursement, among others. Delays in implementing or executing critical health projects have a significant impact on service delivery. The committee recommends that for efficient and effective implementation of this project, the implementing agency should ensure adequate identification and evaluation of risks that occur throughout the project cycle to ensure that they are adequately mitigated to avoid further delays. Right Honorable Speaker, as the committee was considering this request, we toured Mulago and Cancer Institute, and we saw the situation there with patients on the floor, in the corridors, and everywhere. And basing on that, Right Honorable Speaker, in addition to what the Minister highlighted, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, has noted the government efforts to improving health outcomes in the country and in the East African community. At the regional level, the proposed projects provides a vehicle for implementing key disease control strategic priorities of regional institutions. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the committee therefore supports and recommends to this House to approve the government request to borrow up to UA 13,500,000, that's $18.09 million as additional financing for the Uganda Cancer Institute from the African Development Fund, from the African Development Bank Group for financing East Africa's Centers of Excellence for skills and tertiary education in biomedical sciences phase 1 project. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to report.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Members, I open the debate. Honorable Paparu, Honorable Max Ochai, Honorable Lilian, no, Honorable Obigaros, Honorable Okwanga Hirari, and then Dr. Watara.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the detailed report. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm going to support the request for this loan. Right Honorable Speaker, I lost my father last year and he was in Cancer Institute. And this was my first time of being there. I saw what happens there, and for me, I was just whispering to a colleague, this is one of the needs that we have as a country. Right Honorable Speaker, one of the components for the request for the loan is additional hospital space. I think their chair mentioned that. When you're in Uganda Cancer Institute, there are patients who sleep in the corridors, who sleep in the verandas, just because the space is not enough. In addition to that, the equipments we have, at times some of the equipments are not there. When they request for a test, you have a very ill patient, and you have to go and look for equipment somewhere to do tests. So for me, colleagues, I really rise here to second the request for this loan. My only appeal is that it is used at the right time, and it is used for the cause for which we are requesting it, so that we can see impact and it is implemented at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Max Ochai.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to seek clarification. Apparently, I listened to both the Minister and the Chairperson during the presentation of the report, and the presentation took for granted the concessionality of the loan. I'm much more concerned about debt sustainability in Uganda. I wonder as to whether the committee made any effort in calculating the grant element of the loan. This would actually demonstrate to us how concessional the loan is. How I wish that could be highlighted to us, and then the impact on our debt levels. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Garros.
Yeah, thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, if there is any loan that does not need too much English in this house, is the loan for cancer. Honorable Speaker, I have so many patients from Terego. When they arrive for proper handling in Mulago, it's so painful. You find them under trees. We don't have enough space. If there is any construction work that should be approved in this house, should be construction of an additional cancer ward space. Right, Honorable Speaker, the first cancer machine came from India. I can tell you, I pray part of this money will be used to purchase an additional machine. Everywhere cancer is now on the rise, and we need to decentralize, maybe regional hospitals, fast testing. You find people's wounds are cut, by the time they are brought, they say cancer has already spread. We need to find a way of combating cancer in this country. I stand here to really support this motion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Okwang. Hirari. Honorable Doctor. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am a member of the committee, so the rules don't allow us to.
Okay, because I saw you standing
Maybe
up.
I...
No, Honorable, please. There's no maybe in the house. Yes, Dr. Tara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I arise to support the proposal by government to borrow this money and the justification that has been given. And I want to state in no uncertain terms that this is a loan in the right direction. This loan will go a long way in helping this nation to build its capacity in terms of health facilities that are available to us and to help us save on referral of patients abroad. I cannot explain the more, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. Not so long ago, one of the leaders in the world, whose name I will not mention, challenged African countries to be able to build the capacity of their own health systems. And I cannot applaud government the more when I see my own government, the NRM government, now borrowing money to strengthen the health sector. And this is the very reason why I say that this is a loan in the right direction. We have highly qualified Ugandan medical doctors. You go to Nairobi, you find them there. You go to South Africa, you find them. You go everywhere. And so this loan is helping us to patch up and tie the strings together so as to create a robust healthcare system. I really want to implore my colleagues that we support this loan and pass it without much ado. I thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Chinovere. Honorable Says Wambede.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker, I equally stand to support the proposal to acquire that facility. Right Honorable Speaker, just as my colleague Honorable Biga has said, recently I happened to visit India. When I visited the facility, I found one of the gentlemen. First I thought he was maybe from Ghana. I picked interest. I asked him, where do you come from? He told me I'm from Uganda. I was placed here for 3 years training from Lago. Now look at such a person has been placed there for 3 years. If we have such a facility here, they'll be training here. After training, they give us services. So I really want to support and also call upon the honorable colleagues that with this loan, we shouldn't even debate a lot. I request the Speaker to put the motion and we pass it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Wambede. Then Honorable Gafabusa.
Motion.
No. Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, they're urging me to move a motion, but I will not do that. My concern is, Honorable Speaker, the cause for the loan is justifiable. If you go to the Cancer Institute, Mulago, you will see real pathetic situations. But my concern is the debt sustainability. For how long shall we borrow for every other activity? Two, Honorable Speaker, there's a component of government commitment, but there are many loans that we have passed in the House here, and there has not been any government commitment. Now, can the minister assure us that the debt we are going for, there is commitment that will enable disbursement of the loan? We may pass it and then it remains on the books. No commitment fee paid there. The loan is there passed, but it's not disbursed. So the disbursement is the biggest problem with our government or with the Minister of Finance.
Thank you.
So otherwise, I will support the motion, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Gafabusa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to join colleagues to thank the committee and the Minister for this noble cause. Mr. Speaker, I want to be on record also supporting this proposal for government to borrow to build capacity for our healthcare system. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, in the last 3 years, I have lost 4 close relatives to cancer. I have been to the Cancer Institute, and the conditions there are really very deplorable. And sometimes you don't know where to run because you find the people there are also constrained. So, in my view, this is a loan we should have borrowed yesterday, but all the same, it is here, and I stand to support so that we build our own capacity to manage it. The cases are increasing, and any of us is a candidate, a potential candidate to fall victim. And if we have a facility here and our capacity, we should be able to use our own capacity. I thank you.
Honorable Santarum and Honorable Tommy Singoma.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable. Right Honorable, I join colleagues in thanking the Honorable Minister for coming up with this loan.
Colleagues, what's going on in that corner? Honorable, continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have ever, as a parliament, passed out very many loans. But this particular one, Mr. Speaker, I would like to beg my colleagues that let's pass this loan, because what is happening in Mulago Cancer Institute, Mr. Speaker, you cannot imagine it. Last year I had my late father there. At night when it's raining, patients have nowhere to sleep. They are all crowded on the veranda. The medicines, the drugs are very expensive, Mr. Speaker. The congestion which is there, Mr. Speaker. So for me, as a member of parliament, in the memory of my father, I would like this house not even to delay for 1 minute, but to pass this loan. Example, Mr. Speaker, there was a day I was with Honorable, the former minister, Honorable Tabazi. We even had nowhere to sit. We only secured seats for our patients, Mr. Speaker. Then finally, I want to add my voice. The issue of counterpart funding from the government. Honorable Minister, is government really ready to provide the money? And if the money is provided, what about corruption? Because, Mr. Speaker, as we are here passing this loan, there are people who are now salivating, seeing that food has already come. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to join colleagues in thanking the minister and passing this loan, and I pray that we put it into good use to help our country and beyond, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Singoma.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to join colleagues in thanking the minister for bringing forward this loan. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm happy that for the first time, the whole House seems to be reading from the same page regarding this loan. It's a very important loan, and we think it will go a long way in mitigating some of the effects of cancer management in this country. But, Right Honorable Speaker, there is still a gap in the management of cancer in this country. And that gap is caused by the continued lack of the PET machine in our country. Recently, when we were debating the budget framework paper here, we did notice that some of the funding priorities and funded priorities included in the health sector included the installation of the PET machine in Mulago Hospital. And I remember standing up on the floor here, emphasizing, Right Honorable Speaker, the importance of this PET machine in this country, which we don't have, and the realization that many people in this country who can afford go out to seek services of the PET machine, including going to Nairobi here, our neighbors. That's the need to find money to install this PET machine. Therefore, Right Honorable members, I would like to urge you, let us, so that we can collectively, together, urge the Ministry of Finance to bring a loan here jeered at the purchase of the PAT machine. The gap was 62 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker. It isn't much money, given the very, very importance of this machine for the management of cancer in this country. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, you should only come to this table with the permission of the presiding officer. I think we made that pronouncement some time back. Because I have to respond to colleagues, you're distracting me. Sometimes it becomes difficult for me to follow. Honorable Aaron Sewanyana, then Honorable Cooper, then Honorable Kayondo, then Honorable Rabshija, Honorable Kabashari.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I also second the motion to avail finances for development of the Cancer Institute in Uganda. But Right Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that there are so many delays, especially in the projects that are being carried out by the health sector. We, for a very long period of time, got concerned about the delays in the construction of the Lubowa Hospital, and so many people have been complaining, and these delays have been a very big concern to the population of Ugandans. They hear the speed at which we pronounce ourselves as Parliament to the very much borrowing that we do give to the health sector. But on ground, nothing is being shown. For almost 5 years now, Lubowa Hospital has been in the news. They are not constructing it at a fast speed until now. So we expect some change. When we avail you with such finances, we expect something to be done at a quick speed. In my own constituency, Honorable Speaker, Parliament provided 12 billion shillings to cater for a sewage plant at Chirudo Hospital. It is now more than 6 years. The construction is taking a slow pace. Almost every financial year, this money is provided, but nothing is being done. So we expect something, because this is health. People are complaining. We don't have money to take people to India, as some people can. But we expect Uganda also to have its own machines, its own structures of health. That's why Parliament is speeding up each and every request which is being brought forward by the Minister of Health. So we expect that minister to be of concern to you and the government. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Cooper.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to join colleagues in supporting this motion for the loan request. Right Honorable Speaker, like a number of colleagues have stated here, you needed to visit the Cancer Institute in Mulago and see for yourself how people are suffering, both the patients and the attendants. Last year, I lost 3 people. This year, I've lost close colleagues, the latest being the former IGP Odomel, who passed on, and we buried him last Saturday. And he also succumbed to cancer of the bones, and which later on spread to the liver. So, but when we're in the federal service, we're told the machine Honorable Isingoma is talking about, the positron emission tomography machine for scan. That's for early detection of cancers. Kenya has 5, Tanzania has 1, Uganda has none. I think it's a high time, as we are looking for money to borrow to get to improve on the Cancer Institute. We are looking at the human development. It's very necessary, but we must also be looking at the equipment. The equipment that is needed to help for early detection, because we were told the late Kosio Domel, because of the late detection, that's why he had to succumb to it so fast, because the doctors in India were asking that what is happening in Uganda, because we would be able to arrest the situation, but most patients are brought here when they are in stage 3, stage 4. Why can the government of Uganda work towards acquiring the equipment such that there is early detection and they could be able to handle the situation? So, Right Honorable Speaker, we want to appeal to government to move faster to move faster as we are doing the human development. We must also be looking for money for equipping with the latest machines to help us have early detection. Otherwise, take people to India to treat people because the levels of the gravity of the matter would be beyond the manageable standards. But also, two, Right Honorable Speaker, we also want to call.
You are still on one.
I
thought you were concluding.
I'm concluding with this, Right Honorable Speaker. As we are asking government, but there are also corporations, companies that do corporate social responsibility. We want to call upon them to come in to help to provide a special accommodation for those who take care of the patients at Mulago Hospital. Right Honorable Speaker, there are people, when we pass money here for the projects to continue, who sabotage, make delays. We passed money here for the Heart Institute at Naguru. But what is happening today, Fenori Ministries has blocked the Cancer Institute from accessing the site for the construction to take off. I want to call upon government to raid upon these ministries called Fenero, whom we are even stopped in this parliament from acquiring land from Naguru. He is now blocking. Dr. Magno was telling me we're having a challenge. The contractor cannot access because Fenero Ministries has blocked them to access the site. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to call upon government to take these things seriously and solve the problem. They are the people who are delaying the construction of Uganda Heart Institute. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
No, but this is a project which was launched by the Prime Minister on behalf of the President the other day. So, Government Chief Whip, update the Prime Minister on this, and tomorrow when she comes for Prime Minister's time, let her clarify on this matter. Because it would be a total shame. Fanero has their land, and the hospital has its land. So why should they block each other? Honorable Kayondo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it wouldn't be me if I don't support this loan. It would be somebody else. Because it would be somebody else if I don't support this loan. Because I've been to Mulago Cancer Institute, I've done so many projects there, and I know the need there. That's why I support it. But Honorable Speaker, I want to urge fellow members, let us sensitize our communities to go for early cancer testing. Hold on. With the cancer testing, there are physical tests we can do without the cancer, without the machine. For example, breast cancer. Listen from me. Breast cancer.
Honorable, the woman asking, do you have a breast? I know you. Even men, I saw men having breast cancer.
Honorable
men
Speaker.
Get breast cancer.
Honorable Speaker, I think from my background, I wish you can, if you could give me a chance to carry on a biochemical lesson here. Ladies, you know that you can detect physically your breast cancers. If you test your breast and you are feeling some cramps in it, it is an early indication that you are having breast cancer. Please, get it from me. Get it from me. Therefore, I urge you, fellow members, let us do these physical tests, because if cancer detected early.
Order, colleagues. Please don't demonstrate on your neighbors. I see some of you have started getting close at your neighbors.
Chair, and with us men, prostate cancers, there are physical signals you can see. With us men, with the prostate cancer, there are symptoms you can see. You don't need to go to a machine. There are symptoms you can see. When you have issues with the retention of your urine, it is an indication of prostate cancer. It's an indication of prostate enlargement. Get it from me. Because if seen early, something can be done. If seen late, it is irreversible and unmanaged. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Rabshija. Then Honorable Naomi Kawasharira.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
for giving me the opportunity. I'm one of those who has been injured severally by losing people of cancer. And for that matter, I add my voice also to support. But also as we support, we need also a comprehensive research finding so that we know what are the causes. Because the numbers of the children, when you go to the wards in Mulago, it is so hurting. You find about 50, about 30 of them are seated outside, and there is no bed where to sleep, and so they are suffering a lot. We have a new ward, we have a new hospital, the women's hospital, but when you go there, because my mother was there for about 6 months, but you find that 3/4 of the people in that ward, that hospital, are people of cancer, the women of different cancers, as someone has been saying. But the numbers are increasing. Prostate cancer. Is it the food that we eat? Because we are talking about testing. But what is it that is causing our children and all of us, suffering men and women? We need to go to that, to the research, to find out what is happening exactly, because it never used to be like that. So whether we buy medicine or what, we need the research, and we need to sensitize other people as Parliament. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Kabasharira.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance. I also want to thank the committee and the minister for the loan, but also the committee for the report. However, Mr. Speaker, construction, we all know that it will take a little bit of time, however much money we have. But we have, as the construction goes on, cancer is not stopping from getting people. We are members of parliament, we know what is happening. The budget is appropriated by us, but for us, yes, to accept this loan, but we fail to put money for buying this small machine called PET or PET. We call it PET machine. And yet we know that the number in Morago, in Cancer Institute, is just on the rise. And we know the importance of this machine. We pass the budget for other things, even at times which I don't call priorities. And we even remove it when it has even been put in the budget. Are we being fair? Yes, we are now being excited by this loan. It is a good loan. It is going to help us. But can't we do something as we wait for the construction going on? Mr. Speaker, it is my humble request that before we even pass this budget, let's put this money so that they process this machine. We treat those ones who are already, rather than waiting for this construction. But otherwise, I support the loan, except I need clarification on this 1% of service per year. Isn't that too much? 1% of, and it is annual. Why not once? Thank you. I need that clarification.
Lope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the committee and the minister for the report. And Mr. Speaker, I want to refer to page 2 to the minister. Minister of Finance. The committee report clearly indicates that the project is jointly financed. Actually, they give the dates between 2015. That's when Parliament first passed, I think, this loan for the same. And then they give the processes of 2016, 2026. But my main interest is on the issue of counter-funding by government. This is why we have the biggest challenge, Mr. Speaker. You know, this country has a challenge. Where do you put priority? Your priority. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I took time to look at the Jatmen, and I took interest in the guns they were holding. One of the guns is called the Goose from Russia. Each of those guns costs 25 million. And I was seeing them along the road, over 20 of them having guns worth 25 million at the cost of Cancer Institute. They were holding solidos, but in our villages, they are stealing all the solidos from there, and they are being used to beat people here. So, Mr. Minister, through the Speaker, before you think of buying guns worth 30 million, M16, which is around 30, and the bullets you are using, first put this money in counter funding to solve the challenges of the Cancer Institute. When you see us seated sometimes refusing to support the motion, we give our reservation because of these challenges. Mr. Speaker, I'm beseeching through Mr. Speaker, Minister of Finance, one day to bring a loan for all new districts in Uganda to at least have some tamaka also. As we process all loans for the Cancer Institute, I want my district, which only has 2 kilometers of tarmac, which we are constructed by a Catholic church, from the main road to the parish church, to get some tarmac as a new district. Even as in new districts, we want these loans to benefit from them as we pay with even when our parents, our children are paying. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, yes, I'm supporting it, but for me what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, the last issue I want to raise, the Honorable Kabashai has even helped me to say the same. The issue of that 1% is very key. And the Honorable Santo Room stated the same. Vouchers waiting, Santa, Alum, UPC, Santa, stated the same thing. Vouchers waiting for this money. You see, I request, and I'm still requesting this government, go on and read about Obote's loans he was taking from government. They would come and perform as fast as possible. Mr. Minister, when we pass these loans, what period do you take to make these loans effective? Do you take 3 years? Do you take 5 months? Because people are suffering from cancer. You want to put this in effect. In 2013, Mr. Speaker, we passed the loan here, and it became effective in 2019, during 2020, during COVID. And all the areas that were supposed to benefit power from through that loan, all areas were left out because work was done during COVID and the vouchers continued enjoying. That's why, as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, today I was listening to one radio program, and these presenters were saying that if you want to find mansions in Kampala, you want to find apartments, the owners of those apartments are government officials. They are owning 90% of apartments, hotels, and all this. Where do they get that money from? It's from these loans we pass, and they take so long to be effected. They end up building, enjoying life, but at the end of the day, they will become victims of the same circumstance. And they will die, by the way. They will die living in those apartments with the poor educated children who have been enjoying their life. They will drink whiskey, black label, green label. They will also follow them by selling their assets. So let us realize the loan. Let us pass it. Minister confirm this house, assure us that once the loan is passed, this is the time of performance of the loan, and we move on so that all the loans that come on move without taking a lot of delays. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Finance. Then after Minister for Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, colleagues have raised a number of issues, and I wish to respond as follows. One, Mr. Speaker, as at June 2024, our total debt stock amounted to 94.8 trillion. And the debt to GDP ratio was 46.8%. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, this is far below the 50% East African Monetary Union convergence criteria and far below our Charter of Fiscal Responsibility targets. Mr. Speaker, our debt sustainability analysis report, which I laid here a while ago, shows that our debt continues to be sustainable both in the medium term and in the long term. Why is our debt sustainable? Is because of one, our robust growth in the GDP, two, the onset oil production, which will contribute to the domestic revenue, and we hope that in the medium term we will decrease the borrowing. Mr. Speaker, what should worry colleagues is our debt, our ratio, our debt to revenue ratio, the debt to repayment. This one poses some risk because it continues to perform far above the 20% threshold. Mr. Speaker, there is a question which has come, and it normally comes. What are we doing to minimize debt? One, Mr. Speaker, we are aggressively implementing the domestic revenue strategy so that we are able to raise adequate revenue to cushion the ever-growing borrowing needs. Mr. Speaker, too, the oil revenues are projected to come in not far from now. Mr. Speaker, number 3, we continue to pursue the idea of improving efficiency in government spending. And lastly, last but not least, we continue increasing export earnings and also our support, our deliberate support to the private sector growth initiatives will also help us raise more revenue to cover up the ever-growing debt. Mr. Speaker, I now come to Honorable Sewungu. Honorable Sewungu is concerned about the counterpart funding. Mr. Speaker, specifically for this loan, the counterpart funding was already provided for and paid in the initial request which was presented in Parliament. For this additional borrowing, can I finish? For this additional borrowing, it is only for equipment, for ICT and other things. There is no requirement for counterpart funding. Honorable Naume was asking about 1%. The 1% service fee is the same as interest. Mr. Speaker, this is a concessional arrangement of borrowing which attracts minimal interest. 1% is, on average, our loans average at I can confirm, but it's between 7 and 8%. And this one is 1%, which is far, far, far. These terms are really very good. Mr. Speaker, what period will it take us to make this loan effective? This one is immediate. Today, if you approve for me, the next stage is to sign and the loan. It is on disbursement. So once we sign, the disbursement takes immediate effect. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for hearing. No, the minister has already taken his seat. That was a tactical way of saying no. Honorable Minister.
I beg, just 1 minute only. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, You see, these are your rules. They are not mine. Clarification is when someone is still on the floor. If the minister has crossed his submission, he's no longer on the floor. So it can no longer be a clarification. These are your rules. They are not mine. So, and for clarification, he can accept, he can refuse. It's his right. Honorable Minister for Health.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I do appreciate the Minister of Finance for bringing this loan here. And I do appreciate the Honorable Members of Parliament for supportive. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say that as a ministry and as a person, I really feel what most of the members and the rest of the country are going through because of the cancer situation in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, as I speak now, last night I spent half of the night at the Cancer Institute. I have my young sister. By the time I had to take her to Nairobi for the PET scanning, we returned when she was stage 4. So I feel the same pain that most of you are feeling. Right Honorable Speaker, again, personally I know what it means to have a cancer patient, the expenses, especially when we don't have equipment. I agree with the member who has said that the most important issue is to have this PET scan machine. Honorable Kabasharira has said it. Right Honorable Speaker, as we approve this loan, which as a ministry we strongly support, and we have been working with the Cancer Institute very closely. In many cabinet, even forums, we have discussed. What I want to appeal through you, Right Honorable Speaker, when the Minister of Finance says, when we approve, you must take it that everybody has said, yes, it's a big concern. And then he says that loan starts from there. My appeal, Right Honorable Speaker, through you, is for this August House to pass a resolution to purchase the very necessary urgent equipment, the PET scan. The PET scan. I don't think, Right Honorable Speaker, as a Minister of Health, we have tried our best. 62 billion for them to find it, and we purchase the PET scan. And the loan is going through, is not asking much. All the problems we are having, all the cancer patients we are having going abroad, is because they cannot be detected early from Uganda. By the time we send them out, the cost for the ticket, for the treatment, even the PET scan outside, its cost itself is more. If we sent, for example, like 10 patients, it would have been purchased here. And I speak with experience. My appeal, Right Honorable Speaker, through you, to appeal to my colleague that as far as we have approved this, which we have been going through, let him commit himself to give us the 62 billion, and we really save the lives of the Ugandans. The last question is, Right Honorable Speaker, the delay of the loans, which came from my son, Honorable Sewana, is these loans, when we pass them here, they go through a process. And these are loans that they go through a process with counter funding. At the end of the day, I'll come in.
Honorable colleagues, I don't have much time. At the beginning, I told you
up on this.
We have a bishop
Right
waiting
Honorable,
to start.
right Honorable Speaker,
please.
we have been facing the Karamoja infrastructure development for the last 8 years. It's only on Tuesday that we managed to launch it, all compatibly. So my colleagues, we should be patient that as the government is looking for these loans, as the implementation is taking long, it's like how we are saying, we need money, we need funding, ours we shall implement whatever comes our way. If we have the PET scan, we can process it. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Anifa, I know when you talk passionately about cancer, I know what she has gone through as a person, but also many honorable colleagues here. I have read in the news that the NRM caucus is meeting to discuss the budget. I'm sure Honorable Sewungu is also about to call his team to discuss the budget as leader of opposition in terms of priorities which should be given, which should be looked at. Let us all be ambassadors for the PET machine. Because really from the submission that Honorable Anifa has put here, I think the coming financial year, and you honorable colleagues, the coming financial year, we should work closer with the Minister of Finance. And the Minister, I know, is very passionate on these issues. Let's go and look at the issue of the PET machine. Because only the rich are able to go to Nairobi abroad. But what about the poor people? I have poor people who are rotting. Someone in the village rots completely until they die. Okay? Because even if you brought them here to Murago, the detection, by the time they are detected, it's too late. So, honorable colleagues, let's have it as our commitment that we are going to work together from colleagues who are in cabinet, because I know this budget will come to you. Minister of Finance will bring it to you, but also Minister of Finance himself. Then you, honorable colleagues, in your various political groupings, as you're discussing, let's make it a deal that this coming financial year will provide for a PET machine. Okay? It's to save all of us. It's for all of us. You never know. Even if we say medical board, by the time you go, it's already stage 4. You're already finished. Okay? And yet you could be detected early. So, honorable colleagues, I followed the debate and I saw the kind of consensus you are building. I now put the question and the motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize the government to borrow up to UA 13.5 million, equivalent to USD 18.09 million additional financing from the African Development Fund to finance East Africa's Centers of Excellence for Skills and Tertiary Education in Biomedical Sciences Project Phase 1, Uganda Cancer Institute, be approved by this House. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Honourable Minister for Finance. Thank you, Honourable Minister for Health. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Committee Chair and your members and the whole House. Clerk, please let's quickly extract this resolution and we pass it on to Ministry of Finance for implementation. Now, Clerk, let's complete item 4 and then we go to item 3. Item 4 is just laying. And then we go to item 3, which we stood over.
Item 4.3, laying of papers. Report to Secretarial Committee on Foreign Affairs on the Oversight Visa Uganda High Commission in Kigali, Rwanda.
A representative of Committee Chair.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I beg to lay the report of the Committee of Foreign Affairs on the oversight visit to the Uganda High Commission in Kigali, Rwanda. I beg to lay.
Yeah. Thank you. Honorable, can you use 3 minutes to give us a brief summary?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The report or the oversight to Kigali, I'm going to talk about the cash word because it happened just after the close of the border. That's what I've picked, among other things which are very interesting in this report.
Honorable, the rules limit you to a few recommendations straight away. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The committee recommended that the minister on the border, the committee recommended that the Minister of Foreign Affairs urgently schedules the consultative meeting with his counterpart, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the International Corporation of Rwanda, as agreed during the previous JPC session, to ensure smooth implementation of the decisions of the JPC and strengthen the bilateral relations between Uganda and Rwanda. The committee also recommended that the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should allocate adequate funding to the Minister of Foreign Affairs for hosting Joint Permanent Commission meeting in the next budget cycle. This will ensure that Uganda meets the obligations to hold JPCs on schedule, facilitating smoother diplomatic relations and cooperation between Uganda and other countries. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to request the August House to pick in interest on this report because there are very many interesting aspects, and the necessary MDAs should pick the recommendations up and implement them. I beg to submit. Thank you very much for your indulgence.
Thank you, Honorable Kumugabja, representing Chair, Committee on Foreign Affairs. Our Honorable colleagues shall be appointing the date for debate. Read through the report so that you do prepare. Honorable colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have choir members from Queen of Angels, Kirowoza Sub-Parish, Namdyango Parish, Mukono District. They are represented by Honorable Namboze Bakireke Betty and Honorable Nabokera Hanifa. They've come to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Honorable Rusa, I hope they are here. Yeah, please. Because I see choir members.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to welcome my village mates from Chirowoza, Seta. For your information, my house is just 1 block away from the church, and today they are here to celebrate Ash Wednesday with us, but also as a special guest, my special guest. I am not their member of parliament, but they're the ones who are my immediate neighbors, and I pray with them regularly. So you're most welcome, my dear people, to the Parliament of Uganda. This is home, and feel at home. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. So, honorable colleagues, let's go back to item number 3. We had stood over it. The minister was already presenting. Honorable Minister, you can start from where you had stopped. No, I only called Honorable Rusi because I saw it's a choir and we have mass. So I wanted to confirm whether they are the ones who are reading in today's mass. Otherwise, whenever people are here, we don't call on their MPs to speak. That's yeah. Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a brief
that has been prepared to update this House on the current high temperatures being experienced across the country. The brief also addresses the concerns raised by Honorable Opio Samuel Achuti from Kole North County regarding the ongoing heat wave, that is high temperatures, and the mitigation measures. My ministry is committed to provide regular weather update to this House. Right Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, the effect of climate change and increasing climate variability has made weather and climate conditions more challenging. Weather-related disasters are becoming more frequent, with severe impacts on agriculture, livelihood, infrastructure, and aviation. Right Honorable Speaker, therefore, there is an urgent need to strengthen early warning system to ensure that accurate and tailored weather information reach all stakeholders from the top up to our lower stakeholders. In response to the issues, my ministry has provided an explanation of the high temperatures being experienced across the country and the measures to mitigate the effect. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda is currently experiencing a dry condition with high temperatures. This situation is expected to persist until mid-March, after which cooling will occur as the rains begin. These unusual high temperatures are due to a combination of factors, among which are: one, the primary cause is the dry season for these high temperatures. The ongoing dry season has really increased the temperature. The period from December to February is typically a dry season across the country, with February, which is going to be the hottest month of the year. Temperatures begin Right Honorable Speaker, temperatures begin to rise by mid-January, reaching the peak in February and gradually declining from early March as March-May rainfall season begin. Two, the tropical cyclone currently present over the southern Indian Ocean is affecting Ugandan's weather. This cyclone is pulling in moisture that would otherwise be carried by southerly winds into East Africa, that would include Uganda. As a result, therefore, rainfall formation is suppressed, delaying the onset of rainy season and extending the dry and hot condition across the country. Three, Right Honorable Speaker, during the February, the sun moves closer to the equator, which runs through Uganda. It is directly overhead at the equator twice a year, on March 21st and September 23rd. As the sun approaches this position in February, solar radiation increases, leading to the high surface temperatures. Reason number 4, Right Honorable Speaker, the urban heat effects. Cities and large towns in Uganda experience higher temperatures than the surrounding rural areas due to the urban heat island heat effects. This occurs because, one, The heat-observing surface, such as the tarmac roads, pavements, and concrete structures, which retain and release heat into the atmosphere. 2, greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles, industries, and other urban activities which trap heat and contribute to the rising temperatures. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in order to stay safe and reduce the impacts of current extreme heat, my ministry has come up with the following measures. 1, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water during the day, limit physical activities by avoiding excessive exercise during hot periods, stay indoors or in shade. This will reduce exposure to direct sunlight, especially during the peak hours of the day. Take frequent showers. Cooling down with bath showers regulates the body temperature. Make the green urban areas, that is planting more trees, increasing vegetation cover in cities, can also help reduce the urban heat. By the following these precautions, individuals can minimize the effect of high temperatures and stay safe during the period. The general public, therefore, is also advised to protect our wetlands and forests because they are essential in the rainfall formation and modulation of the climate. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in conclusion, I encourage you to make use of mitigation measures to minimize the effect of high temperatures. This information should be used alongside other weather updates regularly provided by my ministry through the Department of Meteorological Service. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, finally my ministry will release another update in March, April, May 2025. Seasonal climate forecast on Thursday, 6th, 2025 to support planning and decision making for our country. I really want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and friends.
Now, honorable colleagues, these are updates. These are not issues for debating. It's a statement which they have issued to the nation. Listen to me. Please first take your seats and listen to me. These are statements read at Media Center for the nation. Okay? Whatever you add, okay? Even the minister has gotten it from another department which is in charge of the environment. So I will allow only 2 people. Please. Please. And by the way, Rule 52 says it may be debated. So it's up to me. And this is where I'm basing myself. Now, I have a bill which we must consider before we go, the bill on East African Treaty, because we have not domesticated that treaty. I want us to sort it today before we leave. And we have to break off at 5 in order to join the Catholic chaplaincy for prayers. So, but before that, we have guests. Honorable colleagues, once again, you know, in the afternoon, we were blessed to have His Grace, the Archbishop of Church of Uganda, more blessings have come with the presence of the Right Reverend Christopher Kakoza, Bishop of Rugazi Diocese, in the VIP gallery. Is the main celebrant of today's Ash Wednesday Mass that will be ushering the parliamentary community into the Lent season under the Catholic chaplaincy. He's accompanied by Monsignor Dr. Richard Kayondo, by Reverend Father Joseph Rubura, Mr. Chagaba Joseph, Dr. Kato Augustine, our very own chaplain, Father Pontiano Kawesa, Miss Nsubuga Agnes, Mr. Sempebwa Frank, and colleagues, join me once again in welcoming them. Thank you. Colleagues, we also have in the public gallery students and teachers of Mariam High School, Busabara, Wakiso. They are represented by Honorable Seru Kenya David and Honorable Narui Mabeti Ese. They've come to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me once again in giving them a warm welcome. Thank you. So I'm going to allow Lop and the Chairman Committee on Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just briefly, you see, I want to thank the Minister for bringing your statement, but it needs some corrections. I don't know which staff of yours made this statement. There are a lot of crossings, and on our answered, they will not look beautiful, they will not be good. For example, you are addressing members before the Speaker is irregular in this House. I've seen Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, and members of Parliament. Those are all things we need to correct on our record. Such corrections are not necessary. But, Mr. Speaker, the position of the sun, geographically or scientifically, is known. Whenever the sun is at the equator, that day there is some sunshine for those closer to the equator. And I don't think it can be a good justification for having this hot temperature. It normally appears once that day when it is go to the equator and 23rd. But what we need to address is the deforestation that's taking place in the country. Can we opt for other sources of energy other than people cutting trees? Mr. Speaker, as we talk now, Ugandans have learned how to use gas, but gas is very expensive. And still a number of vehicles carrying charcoal are still being fed in the country, and they are given room to move. Government must come out to create and reduce costs on all those available sources of energy that can save the environment. Without that, I don't know the Speaker has given his ruling, and I want to conclude the honor. Mr. Honorable Speaker, this is my shadow minister. I can take the information and I will not come back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But correction of that statement, it was looking funny in the eyes of the public.
Thank you, my acting law, for giving way. Honorable Speaker, we are very happy with the statement. But sometimes we substantiate. For example, when they say the heat wave will have an effect on agriculture, some of our voters are waiting exactly to know what is entailed in the effect on agriculture. We can go ahead to give information on, for example, the expected yield from coffee is going to reduce. The breeds, including white race of pigs, will not perform. We want actual effects on the agricultural activities from the debates from the members. So we are happy with the statement, but sometimes substantiation is very important. So the information given by our agriculture extension is veterinary officers to the farmers. Of recent, many farmers in poultry have been reporting a serious loss. This is the highest, this is the best time to think of agricultural mechanization, cooling in, for example, animal husbandry. What can we do? And then, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of loss and damage as a result of climate change is a serious negotiation item. We would want the minister to tell us, we are undergoing all this, not because of Uganda's activities, but because of other global mistakes. How far have we gone? What do we have? What can we use to offset the damages and losses we are undergoing? Because this is not our challenge. So I am happy that we shall be getting regular updates, but we need to come out with concrete targets of measuring our contribution to adaptation and mitigation options. Otherwise, this business of this ministry was funded with this ministry was funded with this, without following what actually was done by a particular ministry, is really draining us down. Right on.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Now, honorable colleagues, I know that's why I was telling you that I will not open. These are issues in detail for the sector committee. These are the issues which the sector committee is going to pick on in the ministerial policy statements in detail. Okay? So once you get a statement of update and you want to open it up much, you end up not even achieving that much. So these are issues the sector committee should look at deeply in the ministerial policy statements which are coming next week. Honorable Chair for Climate Change.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank the Minister for the statement. It is true that many parts of the world are experiencing these heat waves, and Uganda is not an exception. And I want to really agree with the previous speakers that we need adaptation, because some of the heat waves, the causes of these heat waves are natural and others are man-made. Now for us, our focus should be on the natural, on the man-made one, because we may do little to block the natural, for example, the high precipitation system, the high pressure system the minister was explaining. We may do little to stop that, but we need adaptation because we need to survive. Therefore, I want to agree that we need to focus on adaptation strategies as we have the heat waves. But I want to agree with the leader of opposition that some of the causes are because of deforestation. Deforestation has gone to high level, and also the destruction of the wetland, which would help in climate modification. So we need to address that. And then land use changes. We are seeing land changing from forest to settlement, land changing from forest to urban centers. So we need to address some of those issues. The issue of drought, which are natural, yes, we can adapt to that so that we can help our smallholder farmers. But one warning, the heat waves are coming now. We are experiencing it now. It has impact on health, on agriculture, and the economy. At the end of the heat waves, it will come with a lot of floods. Why? Because the heat wave is boiling water, open water. There is high evaporation of open waters like Lake Victoria. And as a result, there will be a lot of rain coming with flood. So we must also be prepared. We must prepare what we call the disaster preparedness, not taking relief after disaster. So these are some of the things we need to prepare. And then lastly, our transport system. We actually raise a lot of heat in our traffic jam. And that calls for us to have a resilient transport system so that we can reduce the emissions. We are burning a lot of fuel. We are spending a lot of money for maintaining our cars in fuel because we don't have resilient transport systems. So that should be an area of consideration for future planning. I want to thank you for the statement, and I want to thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker, for the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. 1 minute.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, allow me to really apologize for the uploaded copy, which, as you are aware, it was the one I was just using draftly. And with your permission, Right Honorable Speaker, you will allow me to have that one replaced with the official one, which is already typed for record purposes. My apologies. Two, Right Honourable Speaker, I really want to also to thank the acting LOB for his submission. He has already alluded to other sources of energy that we ought to use. Just for a way of information, yes, the gas, first of all, as a country, we are expecting to be producing oil and gas very soon. But two, as government has already subsidized 40% on the gas cylinders, the small cookers you have. At Stambex, we have already an agreement. What was the original cost? You remove 40%, which the government has subsidized, and then you buy your gas cylinder. So, two, Right Honourable Speaker, I also want to thank my shadow, Honourable Kaya Christine. She has really been in all our international negotiations. And her reasons, one is that we needed to have explained further what is the effect of the heat. And indeed, she did attempt to do that, which is in agreement, because if we had all the time, we would have given a detailed presentation, and those one would have come out very clearly. Indeed, dry heat will cause the dry season, the crops will fail, heat, so many diseases will come up. That one was well taken. And the issue of loss and damage, we have been in COPs. All the COPs, that is the international negotiation, the loss and damage item, it's on the agenda. We do push for it because Africa and Uganda, for that matter, we are suffering because of effect of other industrialized area. And the negotiation on loss and damage has not been completely effective. Right Honourable Speaker, as I conclude on this.
Kind of switch on, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the 1 minute left. I also want to thank the chairperson of the climate change. We have equally been together in this, and the issues he raised indeed is an additional information, because the adaptation is now the item that we need to be implementing, because the effect of climate change is with us here. But each country, under our national determined contribution, the NDP, we made ourselves clear what adaptation measures we are going to take as a country. And those one will include planting more trees. Lastly on that, his warning for the subsequent heavy rains is real. In the subsequent information update, these are things which we are going to highlight. And indeed, Ugandans, let's abreast ourselves to the heavy rains which are coming. Last on that, Right Honourable Speaker, on the issue of transport system, as government, we are aware on this. Just last Monday, for the information of this August House, is that there's deliberate effort to ensure, and we are starting actually with our security Ministry of Internal Affairs, our police officers who need transport to move a lot. We want them to have electrical motorbikes and vehicles. That is already government in motion, to answer what Honourable Songa is alluding to.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you. Next item.
Item 7 on the order paper, Bill second reading, the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024.
Honourable Minister for East Africa Community Affairs.
Honorable Speaker, I beg that I beg to move that the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 224 be read for a second time. Somebody is asking me who I am. I don't know whether
Honorable Nashimwero, Honorable Musasizi, Honorable Mbadi, Honorable Chomaswet, Honorable Kajwenje, Honorable Nabagabe, many members of the House. Oh, even Lope. Yes, thank you. So, Honorable Minister, do you want to just give a snapshot in 2-3 minutes? Thank you.
Mine will be 1 minute. Honorable Speaker, the East African Mediation Agreement was made in 1984 by the signing of a treaty between the 3 sister countries. That is Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. So we are required to be compliant with the agreements which were made. We cannot subject ourselves to freedom to begin questioning the agreement as it had been. So we are part of this. So our request was that the bill comes here so that Parliament can domesticate the agreement to ensure that the laws could be enforced as part of the law of Uganda. That is number one. Of course, secondly is the fact that in the course of the 40 years or so, since the community, first East African community was dissolved, there have been a number of things which have already taken place, including the sharing of assets. The sharing of assets were done in accordance with that agreement, even though we had no particular law. But employees of the East African community were supposed to be remunerated in accordance with certain terms, but which are not yet applicable in our country. So it's part of our desire is to ensure that the whole agreement, as already signed by the heads of state, be made law in Uganda, the whole of it, so that thereafter we can implement all the necessary provisions of the agreement. I beg to move.
Thank you. The minister has made it very simple because 1984, but you see, when you look at this mediation agreement, we must be in line with the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties of 1969. So you don't have any room. The unfortunate bit of it, you find you don't have even room for amendment, because it is a type of agreement which we usually call take or leave kind of agreement. So, Chair of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance with Rule 130, Sub-Rule 2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I hereby present the report of the Committee of East African Affairs on the East African Community Mediation Bill 2024. Mr. Speaker, with Rule 219 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I now beg to lay the committee report together with the minutes of the committee on the table. Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. The introduction, Mr. Speaker, sir. The East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 was read for the first time on 16th October by the first Deputy Prime Minister
Honorable Numbers,
and Minister of East African...
Point of order.
Right Honorable Speaker, this House has norms and cultures, and it is a set of rules that we follow. But my colleague, the chairperson, I heard him indicating that he was about to lay the report. Eventually, I saw him walking to the clerk's table, and then he went back to the microphone. Is he in order to proceed in that way? I know, claiming to have laid a report which he has not laid on table. Isn't that a deviation from our usual culture, Mr. Speaker, sir? Wouldn't it have been procedural, okay, for him to lay? Wouldn't it have been the order for him to lay, as we usually lay the reports, and then he proceeds from there? Is he in order?
Yeah, before reading any committee report, the chair needs to lay a copy and then minutes, okay? And as if I saw him doing that. So I want to confirm from the clerk, because you say clerk is a custodian of all our documents. Clerk, can you confirm for me if they've laid? No, you confirm on, because I'm asking, it's being put on the handset. Okay, the clerk has given me a copy of which they've laid. And so meaning the copy was laid. Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker.
So I'm told you are shaking your head. You are Honorable Numbers is monitoring you very well. so you better.
Mr. Speaker, the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 was read for the first time on 16th October 2024 by the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of East African Community Affairs. The bill was referred to the Committee on East African Community Affairs in accordance with Rule 129, Sub-Rule 1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Chair, I want to confirm, did you lay minutes? Because I had the report, but did you lay minutes? By the time you finish, please ensure the minutes. You have a committee clerk. Where? Yes, colleagues, what is important is before we go to committee stage, the minutes are laid. Okay? So continue. Continue. I hope your clerk is helping you.
Mr. Speaker, I'm looking around. She's supposed to
No,
be here.
your clerk, please, don't mind, it will be done.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 is a presentation of the East African Community Mediation Agreement, which was signed on 14th May 1984 on behalf of Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. The East African Community Mediation Agreement is a treaty within the meaning of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties 1969, to which Uganda is a signatory. The bill is before Parliament for domestication in accordance with Article 123 of the 1995 Constitution. In the past, Mr. Speaker, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda have enjoyed a long history of cooperation and successive regional integration arrangements. These arrangements have included the customs union between Uganda and Kenya in 1917, which the then Tanganyika later joined in 1927. The East African High Commission, 1948 to 1961. The East African Common Services Organization, 1961 and 1967. The East African Community, 1969.
Honorable Chair, you're taking us into too much detail of history. Kindly take us to your observation and findings. Just object of the bill, then we go to. Honorable colleagues, let's allow the chair to read.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Mr.
The moment I see it on our screens, they are picking from al fresco. So kindly check with IT, they would help. Kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith, go to objects of the bill. And that is the to give legal effect to the provisions of the East African Community Mediation Agreement 1984, which was signed on 14th May 1984 between and on behalf of Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. With your guidance, Mr. Speaker, let me go straight to our observations as a committee and recommendations. Mr. Speaker, provisions of the bill. The committee notes that the bill seeks to give effect to certain provisions of the East African Community Mediation Agreement 1984. In this regard, Clause 3 of the bill provides that Articles 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 14, and 15 rather, of the East African Community Mediation Agreement 1984, which Uganda and excludes Article 1 on interpretation, Article 2 on assets and liabilities, Article 13 on the law governing the agreement, Article 16 on entry into force, Article 17 on citation, and Article 18, which provides for the scope of the agreement. Mr. Speaker, the Attorney General informed the committee that the drafting of the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 was largely based on the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 1990, which had also proposed to only give force of law to specific articles of the agreement. However, on further scrutiny, he observed that the entire East African Mediation Agreement and Bill 1984 be domesticated and given force of law. Honorable Samuel Pio Achuti also submitted that the entire agreement should be domesticated because the articles that had been excluded formed integral parts of the agreement, which are key in the interpretation of the agreement. Mr. Speaker, the committee observes that all the articles are significant for the effective implementation of the agreement. And therefore, the committee recommends that the proposed Clause 3 is amended to ensure that the East African Mediation Agreement has the full force of law in its entirety. The committee also recommends that ensuring that employees of the former East African Community are paid in accordance with the agreement. Prior to its collapse, Mr. Speaker, the defunct East African Community operated its own pension scheme under the East African Community Pension Act, Chapter 11, and upon its dissolution, the East African Community failed to pay its former employees their retirement benefits, which liability their respective governments took on. In the case of Uganda, Mr. Speaker, the government issued the Pensions Amendment Decree of 1979, which recognized the former employees as a category of pensionable persons payable by the government of Uganda. The decree defined in Section 2, subsection G, pensionable office as one to which a Ugandan national was appointed on the grant of a pension under the Pension Act of the defunct community. This African Community Mediation Agreement which was signed much later in 1984, reiterated under Article 10 that individual partner states shall pay their nationals who had worked for the defunct East African Community and retired from active service, and those that were still in service at the division date of the community. The community observes, Mr. Speaker, that the former employees of the defunct East African Community from Uganda are currently being paid their pension and retirement benefits under the Pension Act of Uganda. However, this has a different computation formula from that proposed in the East African Community Mediation Agreement and results into different payments. It also observes, Mr. Speaker, that other former employees of the defunct East African Community from Kenya and Tanzania were paid in accordance with the East African Community Mediation Agreement. The committee recommends, Mr. Speaker, that government harmonizes the commutation of pension and retirement benefits in accordance with the mediation agreement. The committee also recommends that government prioritizes the full payment of the pension and retirement benefits of the former employees who have not been paid by government. Proposals to introduce a new clause, Mr. Speaker, on interest and liabilities. The committee received a proposal from Honorable Opio Achuti to introduce a new clause in the bill on interest on liabilities to provide that government shall pay an interest of 7% on any outstanding liabilities from the division date. Honorable Achuti submitted that the proposal was based on a letter from the Solicitor General in September 1993, in which he informed the Secretary to the Treasury that Uganda had adopted a 7% interest based on the advice of the East African Community mediator in a mediation report. The committee observed, Mr. Speaker, that the interest on liabilities did not form part of the East African Community Mediation Agreement, which had been signed by the partner states in 1984. The committee recommends, therefore, Mr. Speaker, that the Ministry of East African Community Affairs and the Ministry of Public Service should administratively explore the proposal to pay an interest on any outstanding liabilities after the recommendation of the bill. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee recommends that the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill be passed into law subject to the attached proposed amendments. I beg to report, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. So honorable colleagues, with this kind of argument, we want to debate it? Yeah.
What is it?
So,
I beg to move a motion.
Oh, let the chair read the minutes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for your patience. I now have the pleasure of laying the report and minutes on table, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Kanya.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Aware of the Vienna Convention and the importance of this bill, I beg to move a motion that the bill be read for the second time and the House move to committee stage. And then those other very important clauses that a member may need to interrogate, we interrogate it at committee stage. I beg to move that the House move to committee stage.
Thank you. Honorable, that's a motion that can be moved by the mover of the bill. So let me give a chance to the minister to substantively.
Honorable Magode Kuya is my voter, but one of the senior NRM cadre and a very
good minister in charge of East African community. For colleagues who don't know him, he dedicated his life for this country, and sometimes he's not here because he's engaged in East African issues. Thank you.
And honorable colleagues, Honorable Geoffrey Kanya is a senior member of the opposition FDC, and you can see they work together very closely for the sake of the nation. Okay, so Honorable Minister.
Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to thank the Honorable Member of Parliament for giving me some compliments. Usually I've been not getting much compliments elsewhere. But notwithstanding that, I want to beg to move that the presentation as made by the Member of Parliament, by the committee chairperson, reflects much of the intentions of our committee, of the bill which was originally put, because the clauses which had been excluding some provisions have been specifically identified and included in the whole bill.
Thank you. Thank you,
So
Honorable
the
Minister.
amendments which are being made, which is proposing, moreover, are just implementing, just for additional implementation of the
Thank
same
you.
bill.
Honorable colleagues, I now put the question that the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 be read the second time. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
Honorable colleagues, I put the question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Honorable colleagues, I put the question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Chair.
Mr. Chairperson, the Clause 3, which refers to certain provisions of the agreement to have the force of the law, we are proposing that it is substituted for the following. Agreement to have force of law. The East African, it should read, the East African Community Mediation Agreement 1984, set out in Schedule 1 to this Act, shall have the force of law in Uganda. And the justification for this, Mr. Chairman, is to ensure that the entire East African Mediation Agreement 1984 is domesticated and given the force of law by an Act of Parliament.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, Honorable Minister, are you okay with that?
I'm very pleased with the whole turnout.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable colleagues, I put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. No, please wait. You see, I've already put a question. Okay? No, yes. Yeah, but you see, I've put a question. So we should complete this one where I've put a question. Yes.
Clause 3 as amended.
Honorable colleagues, I put a question that clause 3 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Lop?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You see, this bill has only one Mr. Chairman, sir. It has only one clause that requires amendment, and the rest have no challenge on the floor. And what I was proposing, that we pass the bill with all the clauses as presented, because the one which required amendment has been settled by the minister. That was my
Honorable,
proposal.
these are few. Let's call each clause. We are supposed to call each clause.
Okay,
because
sir.
you never know, a colleague can propose an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Clause 4.
Honorable colleagues, I put the question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
Honorable colleagues, I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
Colleagues, I put the question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
Honorable colleagues, I put a question that clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
Colleagues, I put the question that clause 8 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
Colleagues, I put a question that clause 9 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule 1.
Colleagues, I put the question that Schedule 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule 2.
I put a question that the Schedule 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
I put the question.
Title.
Honorable colleagues, I put the question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Honorable Minister.
I beg to move that the report from the committee of the whole House be adopted. Yeah. Which one is that again? Which is the ritual? Mr. There are some rituals I must perform. I'm not yet accustomed to performing too much rituals. Now, this is the. So I beg to, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do resume, and the committee of the whole House reports thereto.
Honorable colleagues, I put the question that the House do resume, and the committee of the whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary no. The ayes have it.
Report from the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the committee of the whole House has considered the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 and passed it with amendments to clause 3.
Thank you.
Motion for adoption of the report of the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the committee of the whole House be adopted.
Honorable colleagues, I put a question that the report of the committee of the whole House be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill third reading.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 be read a third time, and do pass.
I think I won't disturb you again. Honorable colleagues, I put the question that the East African Community Mediation Agreement Bill 2024 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act entitled the East African Community Mediation Agreement Act 2025.
Honorable Minister, congratulations. I think you've seen we have very interesting rituals in the House. So do you have any message for members, Honorable Minister?
Yes. Right, Honorable Speaker, I would just thank the members for considering this question, very urgent question. It has been vexing. But for me particularly, I came here when I was a bit sickly, so I thought, I was even fearing that somebody would hint at the kind of shoes I'm wearing. So, so the fact that it has not yet been done, I'm sure I received the protection from the chair. I thank you. I thank the members very much for considering my situation.
Honourable Minister, we've not had a good moment with a member of the front bench like we've had with you today. In a long time. We've really had a very, very good moment. Honourable Chair, I want to thank you and your team for the good job. And honourable members, I really want to thank you for considering this very, very critical bill. And I hope now, Honourable Minister, we've set you free. This has been nagging you. It will help you to implement your work. So, honourable colleagues, we have church service, which is starting in the next 10 minutes. Let's join the Catholic chaplaincy. House adjourned to tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Okay, yes, Honorable. Thanks for being smart.